Hello everyone and welcome back to the 49ers Golden Ticket. My name is Gabriel and today I do want to talk about the 49ers roster moving forward. Since we didn't have a game to break down this week, I wanted to take this opportunity to maybe get a mid-season report on the team. I took a look at some of our Pro Football Focus grades, and not all of them were quite what I expected, although some others were better than what I expected. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to share some of those thoughts with you guys. I also want to look ahead to the 2023 roster because that is starting to come into play a little bit with the decision making that the 49ers are having. Is Jimmy Garoppolo somebody that the 49ers would like to bring back, or do they want to move forward with Trey Lance? Or there are other options that the hype train is really rolling for, one of them being Tom Brady, another one being Aaron Rodgers, and then of course Kyle Shanahan's favorite, Kirk Cousins, who's having himself a heck of a season and some really fancy dancing over there in Vikings country with the shirt off and all the chains on the way home from away games. It's been pretty entertaining to watch. If you guys haven't had the chance to see that, I recommend you find something on YouTube or Twitter. You might be able to find the Kirk Cousins celebrations in there. It's actually quite fun. But either way, I do want to discuss what some of that means for the Niners and Trey Lance. Trey Lance is coming back from his injury. Speaking of injury, there was huge news today that broke, and Jason Verrett, we got to talk about his future with the 49ers. Also, looking ahead to our Week 10 matchup. Week 10, ladies and gentlemen, we made it this far, but Week 10 against the Los Angeles Chargers. I almost said San Diego, but yes, with the Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert, easily a top 5 quarterback, coming into the Bay Area, our house, and let's see what we can do. And you made it. This is where we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at the 49ers current roster and the position by position Pro Football Focus grades and see where we're weak and where we could potentially improve. All right, here on the screen for you guys, as you can see behind center, we have Jimmy Garoppolo there with a 60.7 grade from Pro Football Focus. He is ranked the 18 out of 39th quarterback in the NFL, meaning that he is in the upper echelon. And when I separated it and did my own rankings, I actually had Jimmy falling somewhere around the 16th mark. I might be able to pop that up on the screen later for you guys just to take a quick look at. I know it's very controversial because, look, we all love Jimmy. He's won a lot of games for us. But at the end of the day, the 49ers do expect stellar quarterback play. We come from a long tradition with Joe Montana to Steve Young. And you know what? Even Jeff Garcia was pretty darn good. So Jimmy Garoppolo does have some big shoes to fill. I do believe he's been doing a pretty good job filling them. However, his grade currently is only 67.7, but we have to remember that's taking into account those first couple of games where he was readjusting to playing in the NFL after coming off that injury. And then, of course, 0 offseason. He didn't practice. He didn't throw a bunch. He doesn't have the timing down with some of the new players, et cetera, et cetera. So Jimmy's just been steadily improving. And currently, his grade is 67.7. And currently, he is the 18th out of 39 quarterbacks in the NFL. And as mentioned, I have him graded at the 16th quarterback. But there is room for him to move up that list, depending on how some of those other quarterbacks pan out. One of them including Matthew Stafford, who did win the Super Bowl last year. I know he looks terrible this season, but that offensive line, I almost said St. Louis, but in Los Angeles there for the Rams is god-awful, and Matthew Stafford has just had no time to throw. But I do feel that Stafford comes with a little more arm talent than Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're pretty similar in their flawed decision-making. You got behind him CMC and Juice, both of them upper echelon of their positions. Juice there with a 63.4 grade being number 2 out of 9, and CMC with an 87.2 grade, very impressive, and still only the 7th ranked running back. So there's been some really good backs in the league this year. I'm curious to see what his grade looks like at the end of the season. Ayuk is actually playing much better than Debo right now. He is the 7th graded wide receiver in the NFL. Ayuk is consistently drawing the #1 coverage as well, as in Jalen Ramsey, for example, when playing the Rams. And on the opposite side of that, we have Debo. at a 66.4 grade and the 54th ranked wide receiver right now. Debo, of course, is a wide back, so some of his production comes at running back, but that is almost worrisome. That is a huge step back from last season, and let's just hope that it was that hamstring injury that he's gotten over in the bye week, because he plans to play this week against the Chargers. I very much hope he does. We have Trent Williams there. He's currently the number 3 rated tackle in the NFL, but we know. Trent Williams has been playing a little banged up this year, and he still has an 88.4 grade, which is absolutely amazing. The left side of this line is doing really well. You got Aaron Banks next to him with a 68 grade, and he's the 23rd ranked guard in the NFL out of 81. Now, this is where we're struggling here. In the center, the right guard, and I know McGlinchey's got a good grade there with a 70.2, but he's struggling as well. But really, Jake Brendel with a 56.4 grade. He's ranked in the bottom 10 in the NFL at the center position, and that's just not good enough for a Super Bowl team and a quarterback who is not very mobile. The goal of a quarterback who's not mobile is to protect him, and you got to protect him with a great offensive line, and right now the 49ers don't seem to have that, because right next to that 56.4 grade, we have Spencer Burford with a 49.0, and he is the 64th rated guard out of 81 in the NFL. Now, Burford, I believe, is going to continue to improve throughout the season, and Chris Forrester, the offensive line coach for the 49ers, will have him playing better by the end of the year. We got to remember Burford's a rookie. So every game, potentially, he's getting better. McGlinchey, he's not quite in the bottom 10, but he's right there. And that's just not good enough, even with a 70.2 grade, which is impressive. Now, moving over to the defensive side of the ball, Mooney Ward, I'm going to highlight first. He is balling this year for us. Great acquisition in the offseason. He was worth the money. Right now, he's the 10th ranked corner in the NFL out of 113 with a 78.5 grade. Corner is probably one of the hardest positions to play in the NFL because it's all athleticism and reaction. And you have to be elite at both of those things to be a quality corner. Unfortunately, on the other side, the 49ers have lost their other quality corner. Emmanuel Mosley, he was ranked the 30th cornerback in the NFL with a grade of 70.9 before his injury. Very much missed right now because we got Diamador Lenore over there, whose grade is at 50.8. And if you want to replace Diamo, you can go ahead and put in Ambry Thomas, who isn't doing much better. Thomas has a grade of 47.0. And then there is Samuel Womack. But Womack, I don't believe is going to see the field much because as this season's gone, it's become more and more evident that the 49ers don't like to put their rookies on the field. So Samuel Womack, I don't anticipate getting a lot of playing time, but I do hope he gets some so he can develop more. His grade is currently a 71.4, which is very nice considering the grade of the cornerbacks around him. But Womack hasn't played enough snaps this season to have a rank within Pro Football Focus. So that's that with the cornerback position, which is a little worrisome, especially considering the new news that we haven't talked about yet. I will get into it, don't worry. But Nick Bosa, still an absolute stud. He's currently the 5th ranked defensive end, but he's up in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not so sure that his grade is a reflection of his impact, but he's still killing it. Nick Bosa is a mean machine and an anchor on that defensive line. I look forward to watching him play and dominate every single week. Next to him right now, we have Hassan Ridgeway. Unfortunately, injuries to Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw are killing this defensive line because our D-line is playing 4th and 5th stringers right now. Hassan Ridgeway is playing fair. He does have a 53.0 grade, and he's the 85th ranked defensive tackle out of 122, but playing next to him on a lot of the downs, more of the pass rushing downs than the run stuffing downs. I went ahead and I put Kerry Hyder there. Kerry Hyder came back to the team this year and has really played well. He and Chris Kosarick seem to understand each other very well. Chris Kosarick knows where to put Hyder for him to be the most effective, and Hyder is one of those high motor guys who does not stop. Next to Hyder on the other end this year, somebody who has really taken some steps forward is Samson Ebukam. He is currently ranked the 50th defensive end out of 115, but his grade is 66.3, not quite Nick Bosa's 89.9, but it's still fair. Fred Warner, dominant, but he's only the 15th ranked linebacker, which is a little mind-blowing to me because I watch him all over the field be a heat-seeking missile. 76.4 grade. But as mentioned in other podcasts, Dre Greenlaw is really playing well this year, and his grade is 77.3, making him the 11th ranked linebacker, which is a step up from Fred Warner. Consistency, though, that's the key, and that's something that Warner brings. On the back end, we have the safety tandem of Talanoa Hufanga and Tashawn Gibson. Talanoa Hufanga has been a standout for the 49ers this year. He has more picks already this season than Jaquiski Tartt has had in his whole career. Now, I don't want to dog Jaquiski Tartt because he was a very steady contributor for this defense for many years. And it was a stark fall off from when you took Jaquiski Tartt off the field versus when he was on the field. Tartt was an absolute difference maker for this defense, but the 49ers found another huge difference maker in Talanoa Hufanga. He is going to be great. He's consistently getting better. He is getting a little more exposed, though, now that there's more tape on him. We're seeing that he's going to miss a tackle here and there, but his instincts are off the charts. He's always in the right area to make a play. So when you have those kind of instincts, it's okay that you make a mistake from time to time. We watch big-time quarterbacks do that, like Patrick Mahomes. We see him miss an easy throw and then, boom, nail the hardest throw as if it was easy. So players like that can get away with more. Tashawn Gibson is an older safety and somebody that we brought in this offseason, and he's having a great season for us. He's the 26th ranked safety out of 86 with a 70.1 grade. But unfortunately, because he is playing so well, that's taking Jimmy Ward out of his position. And maybe we're going to end up moving him permanently to nickel cornerback. Oren Burks and Samuel Womack is who I have listed there because it's either a third linebacker or a third corner. And those are the grades on both. As mentioned earlier, though, neither of those players have played enough this season to get a ranking. Now, they can get a grade, but they haven't gotten a ranking yet because they haven't played enough snaps. But as mentioned with Jimmy Ward, if the 49ers do decide to move him full-time at nickel, then yes, he would be taking that spot there. And let's see what he looks like when he comes back. Jimmy Ward right now only has a 51.8 grade, but you must remember he was playing with a club over his broken hand. He broke it in his first game back this year. So let's see what Jimmy Ward looks like after the bye week. He's had more time to heal, and I anticipate that cast coming right off. But here's the news we got to talk about, guys, and this is why our secondary is going to be such a struggle. Yesterday, on Wednesday, Jason Verrett tore his Achilles tendon and is done for the year. I don't know how else to say it other than that is very sad news, not only for the 49ers, but for Jason Verrett. Jason Verrett has battled back through so many injuries throughout his career and has still played at a high level every time he's touched the field. He's one of those guys that has no quit in him, and even though he wants to keep going, his body might be telling him to stop. I'm curious to see what his next decision is. A really unfortunate situation for a really great guy, a leader in our locker room, and an absolute stud on the football field when healthy. Just a couple of quick players that I do want to point out, some honorable mentions, I guess you could say, that didn't quite make the starting roster, but definite big-time role players for us. Charles Omenihu, he's currently the 51st ranked defensive end with a 66.0 grade. He is having himself a season. What a great trade acquisition for the 49ers. We gave up a 6th-round pick for him, and look what he's blossoming into for us. Juwan Jennings is the 52nd ranked wide receiver, 2 ahead of Debo, actually. He's got a 66.7 grade, and he's typically our third wide receiver when we go 3 wide receiver sets, usually on third downs. Juwan Jennings makes a play for us. Big time third down target and very reliable. Maybe Juwan Jennings turns into a Brandon Marshall type wide receiver. Now looking ahead to our 2023 roster, as you can see here, there are a couple of blanks on the screen. I also filled in some of the names of guys that I know are coming back next year. I'll throw a couple of honorable mentions in there as well. Not all of them will be starters for us. As you can see here, we got Ayuk and Ward still on the outside. You got Debo on the other side, but no corner across from him. Yes, you can put Diamador Lenore. Yes, you could put Samuel Womack. Yes, you could put Ambry Thomas. But are you ready to depend on those guys to be your outside corner? Looking in, we still have Trent Williams and Aaron Banks there on the offensive line, but it's center, one of the most important positions on the Kyle Shanahan team. There is nobody there to start. Now, Jason Poe is an undrafted free agent that we brought in who has shown promise. A lot of people wanted him to be our center this year. Same with Donovan West, another undrafted free agent that we brought in who we thought was going to play center for us. But neither of those guys panned out this year, and I don't anticipate them panning out next year. I believe the 49ers are going to take almost a shotgun approach at the offensive line next season. We do have Spencer Burford returning at the right guard position. I think Spencer Burford will improve this year and then really come back next year stronger. Look at how Aaron Banks was last year versus this season. That's what a complete offseason with an NFL team can do if you're willing to put in the work. But at right tackle, Mike McGlinchey is not going to be returning. I don't anticipate the 49ers re-signing him either. But I also don't know if they'll be willing to move on from him. He's somebody who's been here for a long time and knows the system and knows the players very well. He has been a captain on this team, and everyone thought he was the heir apparent to Joe Staley. So it's unfortunate to see his struggles, but maybe, just maybe, Staley takes him back under this wing during this offseason and gets him back to work. On the other side, we got Bosa, Armstead, Kinlaw, and Drake Jackson. But as you can see there, though, we do have holes at safety. Hufunga's our only safety for 2023 on the roster. And so we got to see what the 49ers do. Are they going to draft someone? Are they going to bring back Jimmy Ward? That's what I think a lot of Niners fans would hope. But Jimmy Ward right now seems to be very unhappy. He's being replaced by Tashawn Gibson, who was a free agent this offseason. And then not only is he being replaced, he's being forced to play out of position in a contract year. Jimmy Ward's a stud. He knows this defense. He's a quality player, obviously a top 100 player. And I know he's getting older and there's some injury concerns, but I'm not ready to quit on him yet. Jimmy Ward, if you were coming back, man, I'd be happy. Definitely excited to see Trey Lance coming back. He needs the time to develop, and the 49ers haven't given it to him, unfortunately. But there's a lot of talk right now with Justin Fields, and did the Niners make the wrong choice by going with Trey Lance instead of Justin Fields? Well, you understand that Justin Fields is 19 starts into his NFL career, 20 starts, something like that. How many has Trey Lance had? 4? Trey Lance said it in the offseason that he learned the most when he was on the field playing in a game. So I anticipate some growing pains next year, but I do believe that Trey Lance will be a better quarterback than Justin Fields. However, with all that Trey Lance talk, obviously there is quarterback controversy, just a little bit. Tom Brady has always wanted to play for the 49ers. He grew up a 49ers fan. He no longer has a wife to hold him back and say he can't play football anymore. Him and Giselle, unfortunately, got a divorce this season, and maybe that'll create Tom Brady to want to play more, but I don't know. However, can the 49ers say no to Tom Brady twice? Of course, you know the story. Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and did what? Won a Super Bowl, something the Niners haven't done in a long time. So can we say no again? Personally, I moved forward with Trey Lance. He is somebody who I think is the future of the NFL. A Josh Allen type, you could say. That kind of future. Do you put it on pause for Tom Brady? I don't know. He's already been on pause. So I want to press the play button. Of course, also there's talk of Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. Rodgers, another fan of the 49ers. So he's been wanting to play here his whole career. However, 49ers tried to trade for him last year before drafting Trey Lance, and the coach of the Packers, Matt LaFleur, said no, and it actually tarnished his and Kyle Shanahan's relationship. And what I understand, when the Niners tried to trade for Aaron Rodgers, it really hurt LaFleur's feelings, and I'm not so sure that they've repaired that relationship. Also, Kirk Cousins, Kyle Shanahan's favorite quarterback. Now, there's rumors that the Vikings aren't happy with him, that his contract's too big, but he's still a very, very good quarterback. He fits in the time frame that the Niners have right now as far as their Super Bowl window. He's not too old, but he is a veteran. But Kyle Shanahan didn't scout Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson, who I definitely don't want because disgusting human being, but he didn't scout Patrick Mahomes because he thought he was going to get Kirk Cousins. I mean, that has definitely been mistake number one with this franchise. However, he thought he was going to get Kirk Cousins, which would have solved all of his problems, right? Well, maybe next offseason he gets his chance, but then again, he's got Trey Lance. So what are the Niners going to do? As I said, I hope it stays as Trey Lance. All right, everyone, looking ahead to Week 10. I can't believe we made it, but yes, Week 10 against the Los Angeles Chargers. We do have Justin Herbert coming in. He's a very, very good young quarterback, a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I don't believe that's disputable, honestly. He's got the strong arm. He's got the quick mobility. He's got the intelligence. He's got the size. He is the full package at quarterback, someone that a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL aspire to play like. So Justin Herbert is a prototypical quarterback in the NFL, and he is not having himself a great season, but it's due to all the injuries on the Chargers. The Chargers do have injuries like the 49ers. Both their top 2 wideouts are out. Keenan Allen out. Mike Williams out. So that leaves them with Josh Palmer and an undrafted free agent that was on the Niners years ago in DeAndre Carter. So yes, the 49ers do have a very, very winnable game here. Anthony Lynn, who's the 49ers running back coach, is the old Chargers coach. He got fired for the guy they currently have in Brandon Staley. Well, Brandon Staley's from the Sean McVay tree. And who's Sean McVay's owner? Kyle Shanahan. So I anticipate a lot of similarities between the Chargers and the Rams, so the Niners should have a much easier time dominating this game. Also, I want to talk about Jimmy G just a little bit because, you know what? He is stacking up against Justin Herbert this season. Now, that could be due to injuries or could be due to Jimmy just straight up improving. Now, in the past, obviously a lot of people felt like he didn't improve, but maybe, just maybe, all of it is finally caught up to him and he put it into perspective. I'm not saying he wasn't working hard this whole time. He actually disappears in the offseason and nobody knows if he's working or sitting. So I'm hoping that he worked this offseason because he lost his job and he was going to lose his paycheck. And so maybe it motivated him. Who am I to say? But Jimmy Garoppolo has a 109.4 clean pocket passer rating, while Justin Herbert only has 100.9. Jimmy Garoppolo has a 70 passer rating when under pressure. Justin Herbert has a 68.1. The big time throw rate, this one's massive. Justin Herbert has a 2.31 big time throw rate, and he's a big time quarterback. Garoppolo, 4.55 percentage big time throw rate. Whoa, Garoppolo! What an improvement from years past. Garoppolo is really impressing me. I don't know if it'll be enough to win this game. I anticipate it to be because my score prediction is going to be 27-24. I do think it's going to be a close game. I expect the Chargers to fight to the end. Austin Eckler is a very, very good running back. The Niners, without Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw, once again will have their hands full with the run game up the middle. Let's hope Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw can continue filling those gaps so the opponent's run game is limited. But if they struggle, or if the offensive lineman for the Chargers gets to the second level and blocks out our linebackers, I anticipate Austin Eckler to have a huge day and potentially carry his team to victory. DeMeco Ryans, do not let him beat you. Okay, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for us here today at the 49ers Golden Ticket. I appreciate all of your time. I hope you guys learned some stuff today. But as always, if you have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave something in the comments section or over on Twitter at 49ersGT. I love to hear your guys' input. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to the video if you found it informational. It helps the channel. It helps us deliver quality content to you guys. And as always, go Niners.